Inconceivable crew, Coach Amelia here. My clock's about to count down for this first video in the One Step Closer workout series. This is the warm-up. Let's get started. We have some movements, lunging, snatching, single arm, overhead work today. So we're gonna get started warming up with some breath, some shoulder movement, and some lower extremity mobility. So let's breathe in and reach tall. Link our hands and just reach side to side, really opening the side of the body. Start to wake up and lengthen. Good. And then let our arms kind of drop down and let ourselves fold forward, letting those knees bend and just kind of rocking side to side with the hips. Maybe you can reach for the floor, maybe it's just to the shins. Just start to warm up those legs. Going from knee bent to knee straight, really letting the hips rock so you give those hamstrings a chance to open. Now let's press ourselves into that halfway lift and think about lengthening through the spine here, really taking a moment and seeing how much height we can get there. We spent a lot of time sitting in these past few weeks. We can also rock from here, still keeping that hip hinge and that length in the back. Good. Now let's walk our hands to the floor and come to the top of a push-up. And we'll get some scap push-ups here. Keeping the arms straight and really lowering the chest, pressing through, keeping that long line in the body here so we're staying even and engaged in the core. Good, and let's work on lowering ourselves, getting that chest to the floor. And take a moment and lift through the back, bringing the chest up and off the floor here. Warming up that posterior chain, those stabilizers. Good. And then let's press our hips up and high, coming into a down dog. Maybe the heels are off the floor. Maybe at a knee bend and work on driving one heel at a time toward the floor. Lifting the hips and pressing the shoulders through. Good. Just listening for everything where you might need a little more tension today during the warm-up. Let's take our hands in about a hand print and reach that left arm through to the back leg. Getting some rotation. We're activating the shoulder, pressing the hand into the ground, and then swapping. Good. All right, and let's walk our hands back to our feet. Kind of roll up tall and reach one more time. See how we're warming up there. Good. Let's get some hugs, bringing the arms in front of the body, alternating which arm is on top as we move through. Warming up those shoulder joints. We're going to do some overhead work here today. Good, and then we're going to reach back and tap. Feeling that tricep opening. Good. And getting those arms warm. Make some circles. Draw big circles back. Spending a lot of time in this position. We want to really open that up. So draw big circles backwards with the arms. We'll get a little bit of wrist mobility here, linking the hands, rotating in both directions. Want strong wrists. We're going to be supporting an object overhead today, so we want to address that feeling. Let's start working on our lunge, and we'll start in that upright lunge position, stepping forward, reaching tall. It's our Samson lunge, and step back. So here we're initiating that lunge in a forward position. In video 2, we'll talk about some technique here. Right now, really worry about keeping that chest tall and proud, stepping out far enough that the knee can stay over the ankle. Good. Let's add a little twist for these next few. So we're going to lunge and then look over that forward leg. Good. Nice. Now let's get low into a Spider-Man lunge. So we're going to step forward, put both hands in front, maybe let that knee come down. You can keep it raised. Take a moment as you press back through a down dog. Get a little calf stretch, a shoulder stretch out of it here. So maybe a breath or two in each position. We're still staying dynamic. We're not just holding a long static stretch. We're taking just a moment and a breath in each position to listen for what needs some attention. Let's get one more each side. Good. Then walk those hands forward. Excellent. Let's get some hinging movements. We have some snatch work today. So we want to think about that hinge, really keeping a pivot point through the hips. Doing a good morning. Just a hip hinge forward, like that straight leg deadlift movement. Just opening up the hamstrings. So keeping that chest tall and proud. Good. Keep that up. Let's get 2 more. And if you have any object around that you could lift, so it could just be anything. It could be your water bottle. I'll use this to start. If you have a dumbbell or a kettlebell nearby, you can get that. You still have time to get that in the workout, or you can pause this. That's the magic of the video. Go grab something, and we'll move through a little bit of a warm-up here. Not as much movement prep, but just getting our body warm. So we're going to start that deadlift. And this object's a little taller. If I were picking it up from this position, I'd want to think about keeping that chest really nice and tall as I deadlift here. Good. And then switch which hand is holding it. Still thinking about sending those hips back, keeping that chest tall and proud, waking up that posterior chain. The back is active, but it's not doing the lifting. The lifting is coming from glutes and hamstrings. Good. Now let's bring that object up and let's get a single arm overhead hold. Think about stacking, shoulder, elbow, wrist. My core is engaged when I'm up and overhead. I don't want to see a lot of splay. Extra extension in the back. I want to think about tucking. And then let's go ahead and switch. So switch that arm that's extended up and overhead. Again, we're stacking shoulder, elbow, wrist. Our core is engaged. We're staying tall and proud. We're keeping that bicep near the ear. Warming up that shoulder for holding overhead weight. Warming up our core to stabilize us appropriately while we're in that position. Good. And if that weight you have allows you, let's get a few strict press. So we're just thinking about pressing that weight up and overhead, that object up and overhead. Good. If the weight's a bit heavy, you can add a little dip drive to help press it up. And then let's switch sides. Strict press if you can. Good. Or if you need to add a little dip if you have a heavy weight because we're going to be snatching it, that's also an option. It's going to be close on height here today. Practice where I stay. Think about your surroundings in that moment. Good. Let's take just a moment and get some chest opening. So if you want to use that object or if you want to pull your dumbbell or kettlebell, we're going to get an elevated child's pose. So I have my hands up on top of the object as I set back, toes together, knees apart. Let my chest fall through. Not pressing the hips back. Good. Getting some opening there. Excellent. So that's the conclusion of the warm-up, video 1. Next, you'll need to find an odd object. A dumbbell or kettlebell is great. A water bottle is fine too. Something that you can hold with one arm up and overhead and that you can snatch from the floor. And then join me in the next video for the workout explanation, technique review, and scaling options.